I want to touch on the escape rooms one more time as far as like the team building. Is that something you use in your sales pitch or your salesperson uses to say, hey, here's something that's like totally catered towards team building? Or how does that play a role into the way you guys book and promote the events?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Because it is one of, I'm sure you've played escape rooms.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a team building thing, and you're encouraged to work together. And like I said, our one room cell block E, you pretty much have to work together in order to get out.
Yeah.
Just the way that the room is set up and designed, you're not getting out without the other group. Yeah. So it's just, most people don't think, some people do think of it, but a lot of people don't. And again, I hate to keep saying it, but it goes back to letting them know that, hey, this is out there and you can do this and it will help your team. It'll bring you together. It's something fun. It's not bringing in a speaker and listening to a training or something. It's fun where you can have a good time. You can combine it. We have a lot of groups that combine it with lunch. We have a big convenience store that has tons of locations in our area. And all of the stores, like I think we've had at least 10, 12 of the stores bring groups in. And they'll bring 10 to 12 people, 10 to 15 people. They'll come up into a couple different groups and they'll have lunch and they'll play the escape room and then they'll flop and the other group will have lunch and the other group will play the escape room and they try to see who can get out the quickest and make it a competition. We had one of the schools, they kind of made it a Olympic style thing where like the escape room was one thing, your bowling score was another thing.
Okay.
And then like a couple of the games in the arcade were all counted for a score and they added them all up. And they did bring out the competitiveness of people.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Is that something that you try to create as a package for people? Like you have some standardized packages of here's like all the events or activities together?
We did kind of try to steal that idea and we do share that with a lot of other groups and say, this is what they did. We could help you put that together. If you guys want to do something similar to this. So we've done it a couple times and it's neat. I think like it was like skee ball, like hoop fever, basketball, bowling, and they just put everything all together. So that was neat. And then the following year they come back and do the same thing.
Yeah, they want to win if they didn't win last time. How much of your events are like totally custom, like created events versus like ones just like, hey, here's the standard event option?
So we try to have like a base package. So we have like a base package that'll include food and then bowling and a game card. And then the laser tag, the escape room, the other stuff can be add-ons. So we try to have those base packages. We had tried, when we first opened, of having like set packages, and what we found was, I don't know if they weren't the right package or everybody wanted something a little bit different. So we ended up tweaking them and customizing them. So we thought, okay, let's just go with the base package that includes one of the big group food options, and we can just customize it from there by adding the attractions to it. So when we meet with a potential guest group, we'll have like a qualifying sheet and kind of go down through, okay, how big is your group? How many people? What do you guys want to do? What's your budget? What are you looking for? And then that way we can kind of design it to meet their needs and everything that they want versus us saying, this is what you
have to do it this way.
This is what you have to do. Nobody wants that. It needs to be all about your guest and the group. Maybe they have a specific goal in mind for their event. And we have some groups that come in and they do like a training in the morning and they use our event rooms. And then then they'll have fun in the afternoon. So it's like a combination of a meeting and fun team building.
Right.
With lunch in the middle. Mm-hmm. We found that base package and then adding on according to their budget and what they want be the best way and what has worked best to meet the needs of every group.
Yeah, and it's still relatively simple. I mean, that's always the trade-off, right? Is if you make it too custom all the time, it gets too complex for operations or even the salesperson. But the way you have it sounds like it's still pretty simple.
It is, and it's if they say, "Hey, we want an unlimited game card," okay, you could throw the unlimited game card in there, and then you just add that price per person in, and you keep everything a price per person. That way, they know. And then we kind of have it set up to where it's tiered. If you go over 100, then the price changes. If it's over 200, then the price changes. But if you have 25, then it's down here. But so I guess it not overly complicated, but it's still kind of set up to where the bigger groups get the lower pricing. And
it almost reminds me of what I think is the convenience store you're referring to, of how you order it and then you have add-ons on the touchscreen as you build your sandwich.
Yep, that's kind of
very
exactly,
similar.
yeah, it's kind of exactly what it is. And they, with everything that they know that, okay, we can add laser tag for an extra $5 a person. We can add an escape room, but it's going to cost this much. Or so I think that is helpful to somebody who is planning the event and to make it easier. Okay, that would be fun, but maybe not everybody's going to do this, so we need X amount of these. And we do a lot with the groups that also are paying for some of the stuff. So we have a lot of groups that say, we're going to pay for pizza, drinks, and an hour of bowling. So what we'll do then is we will send them something and say, okay, if anybody wants to play laser tag, if anybody wants to buy a game card, if anybody wants to play Hologate, if anybody wants to do an escape room, these are the prices, and you can RSVP ahead of time. That way we could have everything prepared, and then they can just bring the money and they'll come to the front desk.
I see.
And say, okay, I got one of the laser tag cards.
Yeah.
So again, that day of makes it go smoother versus trying to, and that's also increased sales at events, because if they know ahead of time, especially what we've seen with field trips, we let them know that, hey, we do have, you can buy additional game cards, you can play laser tag, you can get a pucker powder, you can get a slushie, you can get whatever, and this is the pricing.
Yeah.
Send extra with the kids, or
exactly.
So for football organizations, or we've done football, band, softball, whatever it might be, for that end of the year party or a field trip, we also have this. Or if it's a company event, we're going to have these available at this.
Right.
We have the Marines that come in every year, and they love playing laser tag. And it's epic when they play laser tag.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a little bit different level than a birthday party.
Of course,
of laser tag. So
that's
very
really smart.
Tactical. So letting them know ahead of time that we do have these additional attractions available for this price with your group. That way the company might not be paying for it, or the group or the organization might not be paying for it, but you can still capture those sales the day of by doing it.
Yeah, you plant that seed of, hey, this is available, bring money if you want it.
Correct.
That's smart. Yeah.
So we try to do that definitely as much as we can.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a key takeaway.
Yeah. One of the other things that you had asked, and my brain's been spinning here, one of the things that we do with our event rooms during the weeknights, we partnered with an art teacher who does basically the painting, like leads a group painting event. And we'll pre-sell those, and we will typically get 30 spots. I think she can handle 30. And we use that in one of our event rooms, and it generates a lot of food and beverage sales. And we make a couple dollars off of enough to cover the room rental, but it's just a great addition. And we don't have one in our community, like a painting with a twist or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere where they can come in and do that. And it also captures another guest who may not come for bowling or laser tag or an arcade, but somebody wants to come in with a group of their coworkers or friends.
Yeah.
Do the painting.
Add some traffic at least.
It gets people in. Definitely gets people in the door, and you're not using those party rooms typically on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or every Wednesday or Thursday night. You have some birthday parties, but your slower nights during the week, you might as well use all of your space for something.
Right.
So
yeah, I like that.
Event rooms we have, typically it's 2 event rooms, and they use that space, and it generates another $500 in food and beverage sales for that event.
That you wouldn't have otherwise.
You wouldn't have had, and it brings somebody else in, and they see something and they're like, "Oh, my grandson would like this," or we can come here and play an escape room, or we can. I didn't realize you had this.
Yeah, so or even like if they're just telling someone, "Oh, I went over here and they had this, and I didn't know they had all these other things," and they tell that person, and then it's just that's how it spreads.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely use anybody who has those. You can get together with somebody who does that, a paint instructor, and all we did was reach out to her. And we actually had one on Wednesday night, and she's like, "It's been 2 years," and I was like, "You still like it?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Great, us too." I said, "It brings so," and it's something like I said, we don't have one of those places in our community, so it works nicely for that, and it gives the community something else to do. And it helps our servers, generates some extra revenue and tips on those nights. And you're making use of your square footage that would just be sitting empty if not.
Yeah. Win all around. Hey, did you like this video? Great. We make 10 of them a week. Subscribe to learn more and keep learning about what's working in the industry. Talk to you then.